The best way to make coins is to start trading. The issue is most people don't know how to trade. So in today's video, I'm going to be going through 5 beginner trading methods that everyone should know. And if you are first starting out, this will make life incredibly easy for you to start bringing in hundreds of thousands and eventually millions of coins. But before we do get into the video, if you're looking to skip trading, then there is no better place than U4GM. They offer cheap, fast and reliable EAFC coins. If you're interested, there is a link in the description down below, and if you use code Fanatic, you'll also be able to get yourself a 5% discount. Thank you U4GM for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back into it. Just for reference, every single match that you play within Ultimate Team will last anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, depending whether or not you're going into extra time, and also depending on if you come up to an opponent who's going to watch every single replay. At the end of the match, you can get anywhere between 500 to 900 coins, which really isn't good value for the amount of time that you dedicate. Now, of course, you're able to progress through various game modes and complete objectives, but even then, with those, it still comes down to a chance of whether or not you get something good. Whereas with trading, you could take some of the simplest methods, which we will be going through, and you can use this to make a lot more coins in a shorter time period. So firstly, we have the very simple bidding method. This is one of those that you can use from the very beginning of Ultimate Team all the way up to potentially making millions as you go and trade with icons. But to begin with, you want to be focusing on either bronze or silver players. With this, you're going to set the quality to be one of those, and all you're going to do is search. Yeah, I know, it's not a crazy parameter, but it doesn't need to be. From here, you're going to go across each and every single player, and what you're looking out for are those with bids on. Once you find a player with a bid on, you add them to your watch list, and then you'll compare that player's price. Now what we're doing is trying to find the lowest buy now. For example, let's say that we were to go and use this filter, we were to go and search for silver players, and then we pressed search. We go through the market until we find a player with a bid on, and it is at 150 coins. We will then add that player to the watch list, compare that player's price, and as we're going through to find the lowest buy now, let's say it's at 500 coins. This means we can go back to that original player, place a bid at 200, and it's likely that we're going to win them, and once we do win them, we can list them at 450. This gives us enough for us to double our coins after EA tax, but it's also a price that allows us to undercut the market. So if anyone's looking for this player, they're going to buy ours. And this method can be done with bronze and silver players, unfortunately not golds just because there's way too many of them, but then works on certain team of the weeks as they get rarer as time goes on, and will work on icons. Method number 2. This is a favorite here on this channel. This of course is bulk bidding or mass bidding, depending what you want to call it. And this is a method that works extremely well with gold players, as we're wanting to go and get a huge amount of players for a low price, which gives us a small profit on each card, but we want to be getting a lot of them. Normally, I like looking for players valued in anywhere between 800 coins to 1,000 coins, where I can get them anywhere between 600 to 800. Quite simply, I'll go over to the transfer market, set the quality to be gold, and then put my maximum bid at 1,000. I'll search and then look for a player with a bid on. This is a bit of trial and error and does come down to your judgment, but once you do find a player, that is when you need to go back to the transfer market, search that player's name in individually, and then find their lowest buy now. I said I'm trying to find someone valued anywhere between 800 to 1,000 coins. I also want to make sure that there's enough room that I can take a couple hundred coins away and set that as my maximum bid price. As I look at the maximum bid price, I also want to make sure that with the very first page, it's all expiring less than 5 minutes. If it's taking longer than 5 minutes, and a worst case scenario, taking longer than 10 minutes, I'm better off finding another player. That's why it's a lot of trial and error, because you need to find a player that's worth it, you need to find a player that you can make profit on, and you need to find a player that can expire relatively quickly. Once you've ticked all 3 of those boxes, that's when you just go through, and whatever you set your maximum bid to be, you're going to bid on every single card until you run out of coins or max out your watch list. Eventually they will expire, and you know you have selected a good player because you should be able to win more than 50%. Now to the cards that are left, you're going to list them onto the transfer market to then go back through this method again. Very simple, it's a small amount of profit per player, but as you are able to get hopefully 25 plus, you should be able to make thousands of coins every single hour. Following this, our third method is sniping. This is fairly similar because yet again you need to find a player. Once you've found a player, you then need to find their lowest buy now, and then you need to take a couple hundred coins away, enough for you to make profit after the 5% EA tax. Now, instead of taking that number and putting it as your maximum bid price, you're going to keep that number as your minimum buy now. And if you were to search the transfer market, it's going to come up with a message saying something along the lines that you need to change your parameters because nothing currently fits them, in which you'll accept but immediately search again. Unfortunately, you can't just keep on searching and accepting because you also need to update the market, and the way in which you do that is by going over to your maximum bid, setting that to be 15 million coins, and then just keep on holding left, holding down, and keep on searching as well as accepting. Now, 99% of the time you're going to receive that message, but when something does finally fit within those parameters and someone else accidentally lists a player or just undervalues the market, the second that they list the player, you'll be there to quickly buy them, in which you can then list them back at their full price. The fourth method is the chemistry style method. With this, you will head over to the transfer market and you're going to look for players in set positions with certain chemistry styles. And quite simply, you're going to compare what's there. This is one which really does come down to your judgment, but still a great method to make profit once you do have that judgment in place. So you'll head to the transfer market and you'll select the position to be defenders. You'll then go down to Premier League and then you'll go over to your chemistry style and you'll select shadow. There is this really annoying thing with the FC24 Ultimate Team transfer market as of right now, where every single time that you search and something fits those parameters, the second that you back out, it saves everything apart from the chemistry style that you had selected. So you just need to keep on going through and making sure that that is set to what you want it to be. But with this, you want to go through and increase your maximum buy now until you have a couple pages worth on the market. So Premier League defenders with the shadow chemistry style. Now you're going to go across each player and just compare them. What you're looking out for are the types of players and their prices. For some, they will be more common than others, and there'll be a lot of them, in which it's best to avoid. But occasionally you'll be able to go and find a price difference. You may find one player which is listed at 1,400 coins, and then the next cheapest, the exact same player in the exact same position with the exact same chemistry style, may be at 1,700 coins, giving you enough room to buy the cheapest and list it slightly higher. Once you're finished with centre backs within the Premier League, you'll then move it up to attackers in the Premier League with the Hunter Chem style. In previous years, you used to be able to do Shadow for defenders, Catalyst for midfielders, and then Hunter for attackers. But unfortunately, Catalyst and midfielders isn't really a good option this year. They're just way too low in price. But once you're finished with the Premier League, you'll then move over to Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and La Liga. By the time you finish with La Liga, you'll go back to the Premier League and you can restart this cycle. And finally, the final method that we're going through within today's video, it is by far the easiest, but it's not really a trading method. This is more for investing. However, it always works out well. And if you really don't want to trade, this is the best way to go. This is Fodder Investing. Whenever EA releases content for SBCs which requires a rating to complete in order to unlock a pack or a player, and there's a lot of demand for that SBC, you will see an increase in player prices across Ultimate Team. Suddenly, these players who are not really desirable within game, however, they're good within real life, so they still have a relatively high rating, suddenly they shoot up in value. And a way in which we can profit from this is to buy these players when there's no content. There's nothing that EA have released which is special. There's nothing increasing the demand, nothing increasing the price. These players are at their lowest. You buy one of each and store them into your club. You then hold on to them. How long you hold on to these players, I can't really tell you. I don't actually know what EA is planning for content. However, we know at some point that they will release content. Could be a few days from now, could be a few weeks, maybe even a few months. But you sit there and hold those players. When that SBC releases, that is when you can list those players onto the transfer market, and you'll be able to do it at an increased price than what you originally bought them for. If you want to take this to the extreme, you can also look at special cards such as Team of the Weeks, and on a weekly basis you can just buy into some of the cheapest and hold them into your club. Two things happen with these, just like before when an SBC releases where there is demand. If it requires a team of the week player, it will increase. But the real special thing with team of the weeks is that there is no supply. After they're out of packs, they're out of packs forever. The only way they're put back into packs is on special occasions, but that happens once or twice per year. And it's normally the highest rated players as part of those team of the weeks, not every single player. So as people keep on using these team of the weeks to complete SBCs, they're taken away from Ultimate Team and will never return. Eventually, we're going to get into December and we can look back at team of the week 1, and there's only going to be a few pages of each player. And that's just going to get rarer as time goes on, and those players will increase. The demand hasn't changed, but the supply has, yet again, increasing their price overall. It's a long game with this one, but it is certainly profitable. Anyway, here are 5 methods that you can start using even if you have zero experience with the transfer market. If you enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend clicking the next video on screen. That video goes through all the ways in which you can profit from SBCs. I hope you enjoy.